Let's go.
Okay, so thank you everyone for coming. So Fitz has given me a very good introduction. I am a nutritionist, a dietitian. I was a dietitian for over 11 years, working for the NHS in the UK. Gave that up, so I've lost the title of dietitian because you have to be registered to be a dietitian. So now I am a nutritionist by default. But I did study it and I worked for it for many years, hospitals, GP surgeries, clinics, eating disorder. I've just been across the whole spectrum of it, seen many kind of patient groups, and it was good times. But I left because of the red tape surrounded by my work. So came to Cyprus, got interested in something called colour therapy, which does embrace food as well, because everything is colour, food is colour. So I've combined the two today. I've tried to keep it very basic, so I hope it is basic for you all. Just like an introduction into, you know, Fitzroy's mantra, which he always says when he does his lives, is eat colour. So I thought I'd complement that today with this talk. All right, so I've called it Eat the Rainbow, but it should really be Eat Love. The reason why I say that, because colour is love. You know, if you look at this picture and you study it, you know, it's a cosmic thing going on here. This is beyond man's control, you know. So we have to really look at it as another entity here. And if you just look at the picture, look at the land, the rainbow coming down on the land, the different colours that we see. Well, it's mainly green here. But I look at the land and I call it nature's table. And we have to look at the word vegetable. Where did I get that from? The veggie table. That is our food. It grows from the soil, the earth, and it's fed by something very powerful. We're going to go into that in a minute. So I just wanted you to have a look at it and just absorb that picture for a moment so you can understand where everything else is going to come from in the later slides. Yeah? You can have questions at the end. I will be asking some questions in between, but most questions that you've got based on the topic today, you can ask at the end. Yeah? So, why eat the rainbow? That's my first question. So why do you think we need to eat the rainbow? And I'll give you a clue. The answer is in that picture. What do you think that could be? Photosynthesis. Very close. So what, any other ideas? There's something happening in that picture.
Because the sun feeds us, the sun provides energy. The sun
that's the one, the sun. Look at that sun as well. And we're going to just go into that a little bit more. So you're right to pick, because photosynthesis can only happen with the sun anyway. So you're right, whoever said photosynthesis, but we're looking at the sun here. Yeah? So the sun is the key factor. So let's look at what you said, Ben. The sun gives us life. It feeds every living thing on this earth. The sun emits the rainbow of colours through the white light. Now, if we go back to the last slide, you can see the sun there as white light. That is literally what the sun is. It is white light energy. We normally see this picture of the sun here as yellow. Sometimes we see it as orange. Sometimes we see it as red, especially as sunset comes. That's only because the sun is warm, and the three warm colours of the rainbow are your red, your orange, and your yellow. The rest are cooler colours. So it will emit those colours outwards stronger. However, it's white light that's doing that. Yeah? Now, so with the sun, on this side here, I've just kind of highlighted the main things that we would obtain from the sun. So it gives power, vitality, it fuels. Some people call it source energy. Like some of the ancient civilizations used to actually worship the sun. I've put AKA God, because everyone knows that term. But a lot of the ancient civilizations used to worship the sun because of its life-giving force energy. There's another modality of faith where they call it chi, which is basically universal life force energy. And they believe that that comes from the sun. And it supports growth for us, for all living things. Is that okay so far? Yeah, you with me? So, just to kind of prove the white light theory, this is an experiment done by Sir Isaac Newton in the 1600s. He knew the concept of white light and what was within it. So he wanted to prove it. So he produced a prism. He shone the white light through the prism. As it went through the prism, the light within the white, the colours within the white light, they separate. They call it refraction. They separate, and it came out the other side as the colours of the rainbow. So the white light of the sun produces all the colours of the rainbow. It's the visible colours that we can see. There's so many other colours that we can't see. We only actually see 40% of the colours that's out there. And these are the visible ones, the colours of the rainbow. All right, so does everybody know all the colours of the rainbow? Do you want to tell me all of them? Firstly, how many are there? Yeah, no, there's song 7. Okay, so come on, sing along. Who's going to sing?
Yellow and pink and green, orange and purple and blue, colours of the rainbow.
Someone said pink. Red and orange and pink. Pink is not there, is it? I thought that. Who wants to make the correction there?
Red, yellow, green, blue.
Yeah.
Orange. I sang pink.
Red, yellow, green, blue.
Because pink is green.
Yeah.
Green. There's one missing.
You said green already. Red.
There's one missing.
Orange.
Orange. And then there's another one. Purple. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well done. Well done.
That was difficult.
A room full of adults.
All right, so let's move on then. So this is another thing you may or may not know. I'm just introducing the concept of colour, and then we're going to go into something else. So the next thing you may or may not know is our eyes only see what the sun rays have reflected back to our eyes. That's what we see. So in other words, the colours we see is what has not been absorbed by the pigments on the surface of any living thing. Yeah? So just to explain that statement, if we look at the pictures, we see the lady here staring at this leaf. So the sun is shining down on it. All the colours of the rainbow are hitting that leaf. The red, the orange, the yellow, the blues, and the purple are all absorbed apart from the green. So then that green is reflected back to our eyes, and we see that leaf is green. And that's how nature works for us to see a colour. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but that's how it works. So that leaf is green because of that. And then I've given another example, for example, of a red apple. Again, all the colours of the spectrum of the rainbows are absorbed into that red apple, apart from the red. And that is why we see that apple as red. Yeah? Is that understood so far? Yeah? So let's move on. So hopefully you can see the wide variety of colours provided by nature's table. If you just reflect back to that first picture, which is the earth, is a clever combination of light being either absorbed and reflected back to us to make us understand the nourishment that's inside the foods that we eat. So nature's really trying to tell us a story here, and we really have to start to become in tune with it and in tune with our bodies, because our bodies are naturally in tune with nature. We kind of sometimes are dumbed down by what we've learned at school, what we hear from people, what we read in magazines, and we take that as gospel. But we have to start to go back to nature, because nature is very powerful. So it helps to know that light is in all living matter. So the message is to eat a variety of colours to live, as each colour has a different purpose. Yeah?
Live translation.
Is she just, okay, that's fine. Are you up to date? Are you up? Yeah? Yeah, that's good, that's good. Just tell me when you finish, we can move on. All right, so now we're going to go into the different colours and what they mean to us. So red foods, what's the message behind those foods? Energy boosting. They're the source of energy for us. It stimulates, it revitalizes, it helps build the body and rebuild. It increases appetite. So for example, I'm going to just stop on that one, because if you're trying to maybe lose weight or control your appetite, suppress it, really reflect on your plate. Because if you're eating a lot of these foods and you're eating it more of these foods, you will always have a battle with your appetite, because what it will do is always be enticing for you to want to eat more. So check out your plate. If you're working on reducing your appetite in order to eat less, it may be that you need to substitute some of these red foods and put other colours in, all right? And you'll see the colours later on as to which one's best. It's associated with healthy blood and circulation. So anything to do with the ingredients within the blood that we need to give energy, red supports, like the red blood cells, oxygen, and all of the things that we transport around the body. The red empowers that. Some of the nutrients associated with the red ray of foods are iron, zinc, copper, potassium, oxygen, but there's so many more, there's so much more, but those are kind of the ones I put on the slide. And because we spoke on the slide before that there was a spiritual element to, everything. Everything is spirit, really, but I have to add that spiritual element of the colour as well, because red helps you. It supports you with knowing your life purpose, who you are, what you're here to do in life. The colour red has that power. It's the great I am, you know. It catapults you into finding out who you are. So it's not just eating the colour for the physical benefits, it's also eating the colour to enhance you spiritually. Yeah? So these are some examples of red foods. So it's basically, going back to the slide before, it's the surface colour, not the inside colour, but the surface colour, the skin of the food. That is what we depict when we go through these slides of the reds and the different colours of the rainbow. So just to, before I move on with this one, just to add this part in here. So we know that nature's table is the earth, and everything is frequency and vibrations. We know that red meat and eggs, refined salts, are not really of the earth. However, they fall within that frequency of the red ray. They're very similar. So if you're meat eaters and egg eaters, those foods will fall under the red ray. However, again, like I said, with the increase in appetite part, eating too much of it, just keep an eye on your plate. If you're eating too much of it, it has the potential to make you angry, hostile, irritable, impatient. It raises your blood pressure. It enhances adverse conditions of the heart and circulatory system. So it's not good to have too much of it. And they can be substituted, you know, within the week with other things that are kind of more nature's table, but falling into the red ray. So I'm not going to go through the list of foods. You will get a handout with this, so you can reflect on it. But those are the kind of foods, some of the foods that will kind of come under that red coloured range. Yeah. So then we move on to the orange. So orange is good for the immune system. It's the immune tonic. It boosts your immune system. It gives you stamina and drive. Now we spoke about the red infusing the circulation with energy and oxygen. The orange makes it move. So you've got all the good stuff there. Orange is the mover and the shaker. It makes it move around the body. So it unblocks, it releases. So if you've got phlegm that's stuck, trapped wind, tears, It unblocks anything that's fluid and moves, yeah? It gives you healthy lungs, healthy chest, really good digestion.
What is digestion?
Digestion is for the food to process in your tummy, for it to pass through, yeah? Pass through nice and easily, yeah? Your lymphatic system, which is the drainage part of you, is just like the sewers that you have. It's a part of us that have a similar thing. It helps that move along. Women with menstruation, it helps that work nicely. It melts away tumours. The vitamins and minerals and nutrients associated with it is iron, and it also helps absorb calcium as well. On a spiritual level, it boosts your creative powers, because we're here to create. We're here for a purpose, and we need to create that purpose. So it helps with that. It's the biggest colour for happiness and joy. And it fights off harmful energies around you as well. It's a good protector of your aura. Yeah? And these are the range of foods. Anything with an orange skin, not the inside colour, the outside colour. Yeah?
What are sweets?
Swede, it's a kind of like, it grows underground. I can't explain what it looks like.
A pumpkin.
It's like, yeah, it's almost like a pumpkin, yeah. It's a funny looking thing. It grows underground, yeah. Just, you can Google it and you'll see what it looks like. So moving on to the yellow. Okay, so yellow has a very purifying, cleansing effect to the body. It works on all the vital fluids that flow within us. It's healthy for the skin, and the skin is connected to our liver. If we've got healthy liver, we generally will have a healthy skin. It has a laxative effect, so you know it makes things that are stuck push through. Okay, so that's in the bowels. It aids digestion again because it has a very similar effect to orange, and it kills parasites that sit in the colon that cause all sorts of harmful things. It increases the flow of vital fluids, so it just gives the vital flow an extra boost. So some of the examples of places it works is your gastric juices, bile and saliva all help with the digestion of food. The area that it works with in terms of nutrients is vitamin A. There's more, but I just put vitamin A as the main one here. And on a spiritual level, it enhances your mindfulness, so you're more mindful. It works with making you more humorous and intelligent, so it has that effect on you spiritually. And again, the foods that it relates to are all the yellow skinned foods, and these are some examples on that side. Yeah? So moving on to the green foods. So the green foods, they promote restfulness and peace within. Now the body can only heal when you're at peace. That's why at night time when we're sleeping is the time the body really starts to work on healing, replenishing, adjusting. You have to be at peace for that to happen, and green has that thing where it just brings you to peace. It's that middle area, it's that middle ground, yeah? It's soothing to inflammatory conditions. It has deep action on the heart and circulation. It helps with some insomnia. Insomnia is lack of sleep. It's good for cancer, bones, healthy bones, and it helps wrinkles. So all your green foods will keep you looking fresh and young. The vitamins that it relates to, vitamin B, cobalt, platinum, chlorophyll, you don't really have to know, but they're very important elements that we need to consider for growth and for life. Healing, body tonic, it's the main, if all else fails, green is the default to go to because it just does everything, yeah? It's a body tonic, and it works on the nervous system. So if you're very nervy and you're very, you know, you're just restless, that's right. It helps to kind of keep down the stress and the tension associated with those kind of feelings. So it's very, very good for just keeping you in a good place. And then on top of that, we've got the spiritual level where it promotes love within and spiritual wealth. Yeah, it works with the heart. And we have the examples here on the other side of all the foods, all your green leafy vegetables, anything with the skin that is green comes under that category. So blue foods, I don't know if you see many of those around, but there are. Right, so the blue end of the spectrum are very cooling. We had the red, the orange, and the yellow, which are warm colours. They warm you up. These ones cool you down. So it's very cooling and pacifying. It's calming to the body. It brings calm, just like when you look at the sea, think of the feeling that you feel, it makes you feel calm. When you look at the blue sky, it calms you down. It's the same thing with the foods. The energy is the same as everything else. They all do the same thing. So the food mimics that. So it's
you've got the Cabernet Grey, nice for the wine.
hey, you know it. So cooling and pacifying. It's good for the nerves again. Any nervous ailments is good because it has that calming effect. It reduces with the deterioration of cells and tissues. So our cells are always renewing and rebuilding all the time. And if you're not eating enough of the good stuff, the rate of deterioration will be higher. Do you get what I mean? Then there's good stuff coming in to kind of help mend it. So the blue foods come in to kind of, as we're breaking cells down, it helps to kind of replenish it and just bring them back and restore them, renew them. So that's the blue rays energy. It supports areas of the head and the neck, so anything to do with the head and the neck, it supports like your vision, your hearing, your smell. It controls your metabolism because it's connected to your thyroid gland, which is the main metabolism balancer in the body. And then it supports appetite. But the appetite with this one, it just suppresses it. So we had the red, which increases it. Blue suppresses it. So the idea, when I said earlier, if you're having too many red foods and you want to control your appetite, maybe take some away, substitute with some blue foods, because that will help control the appetite. So the vitamin there is vitamin K, and on a spiritual level, it enhances your intuition, so you're more in touch with your inner voice, and it embodies the spirit of truth. And just to add here, the alternatives that have the same frequency as the blue ray foods are fish, oils, yeast, and honey. So just in case you eat those foods, you know where it falls under in terms of the colours. Again, it's not fed by the sun and it's not nourished in the same way as vegetation, but the frequency is the same. And lastly, we have the violet ray foods. So again, they're on the cooling end of the spectrum, so they're cooling and they're pacifying. Again, they work on hunger, supports obesity because it reduces hunger. They're good for tumours, rheumatism, scalp conditions, because I don't know who knows about your chakras, but your crown chakra is a violet ray, and it works on anything to do with the head and the surface of the head. So scalp diseases, it calms mental illnesses, and it supports your sexual organs as well. And the reason, and you may be thinking, well, sexual organs at the top. No, that's because purple is made up of red and blue. When you mix red and blue together, you get purple. So remember we said red governs the sexual organs, so it just brings balance there, yeah? It's also catabolic, so it breaks things down in the body. Our body's always moving and shaking and breaking things down, rebuilding. Our bones work in that way. So it breaks things down. It has that part where it breaks things down. It eliminates toxic waste, it fights bacteria, and aids all our defense systems in the body. And it's the vitamins associated with it, vitamin D and E, On a spiritual level, it works for the good of others and not only yourself. So with this kind of energy, you're there to serve other people as well as yourself. And you can see a large range of purple foods. You may think, oh, I don't see many, but there are so many. And some of your darker colours, like your blackberries, actually cover that frequency. But you'll get this afterwards, so you can have a look at the foods later. So the next slide is really just to add one thing: water. Water is in all living things too. That's why we juice. That's why we blend fruits and vegetables, because there's water within it, yeah? And that water is very, very significant because it's charged by the sun's light. So the colours within the pigments of the food is charged, continued to be charged by the sun as it sits in the tree or in the plants every day. So it's a continuing charging of the colours and enhancing the purpose of that colour to serve us. And also, the sunlight charges the water within the food as well. So it charges the water within the food and it structures the water. And when I say structure the water, I mean it allows that water to assimilate better within the body, to pass in and out of the cells, to pass through the capillaries and the tiny blood vessels. It just structures it so it passes through with ease, yeah? So that's what I mean by structure, and not all water is structured well. So just be careful of what you drink. Sorry, what?
Does that suggest that dried foods, like raisins or...
Very good question. Should we go at the end with that one?
Okay.
That's a very good question. So it structures and charges the water in foods to optimize our health. So we've got to remember that element as well. So last slide is how to eat it. So I'm not going to give a food plate model with eat this amount of, divide the plate. It's not about that. We're quite sensible people. It's about eating it throughout the course of the day or the course of the week and just making choices all the time. So you have a variety of colours. So I've got some notes here. So eat blue to orange ray foods most often. So from here to here should be the main foods that we focus on, yeah? And we explained why that was earlier on, because too much red can affect your mood and increases appetite. So a good management of those colours would be to just focus on these as the main ones, yeah? And don't forget, orange still has an element of the red energy in it, so you're not losing out too much there. Then we have the red foods. So the red ray foods, I would say eat less often. And you can try swapping the red meats with things like red pulses and red beans and red lentils and things like that. Just the odd days in the week, just to kind of just get more of a balance of the vegetation-based foods. And also a very important thing is that if you have the red energy foods earlier on in the day, it's actually better because you need to start the day with some energy. So those fuel you for the day. If you're eating those kind of foods towards the latter end of the day, what you find is that you'll find it harder to sleep because you're so energetic in the evening, because you've been eating high energy foods towards the evening. It kind of makes it harder for you to go into a nice gentle sleep. So having them towards the early part of the day is probably a better thing, yeah? For the green ray foods, I would say the best time to kind of have the abundance of it is in the middle of the day. It can be eaten at all meals, but the middle of the day is the time the energy is better to kind of break it down. And I would say half a plate of greens would be the best option. I'm going to go to the other side here. The blue and the violet ray foods are better eaten at the latter part of the day. Can you tell me why?
Cooling you down.
That's right, because they're calming and restful and peaceful. So if you want to go into a nice gentle sleep, these are the foods to have towards the latter end of the day. If you're craving sugar, so if you've got a problem with craving sugar, just add more greens and that will control it. I always say to choose locally grown foods. Seasonal foods have a magic in it as well. That's another topic for another day, but seasonal foods have a magic in it. organic foods where you can. Eat a balance of foods that's grown above the ground, close to the ground, or under the ground, all right? Because they carry different nutrients. And then buy and eat fresh and raw foods whenever you can as well, because we lose a lot of nutrients when we cook, when we boil, when we roast. It's not that we can't do that, yes we can. Lightly cook foods as much as you can by steaming gently, maybe gentle stir fries. But to be fair, we do lose a lot of, from the time we start cutting the fruits, we're losing nutrients just by the kind of utensils we use. Like iron just totally destroys vitamin C almost immediately. So it's very important to just be aware that although you're eating all these healthy foods, you could be losing out on nutrients if you're just not cooking it at its best. So raw foods are better. What can be eaten raw, eat raw. And fresh, no blemishes if you can, no kind of rotten parts on it, throw it in the bin. And as Fitz always likes to say, minimize your salt, sugar and starch. I don't need to say much more about that one. I'm sure you've heard it many times from him. And then, I left this for last, but cook with a smile. Why do you think I'm saying that?
Transferring of energy.
She's so good.
But Coletta, also when you eat with a smile, you eat and you get the energy from the food in a different way.
It absorbs
and
digests better. Well done, it does. So you cooking with a smile. Never ever eat your meal angry. Never do it. Wait until you've calmed down and go and eat the food, because I'm telling you, you'll be causing a load of digestive problems. But not only that, your chef, whoever cooks your food, pray that he's a happy chef. Happy chef, happy food. Angry chef, bad food.
Then we have to choose our restaurant.
You have to choose. Look to see if they're smiling.
Can we see the cook?
Yeah. You know what, when I go to takeaway restaurants, I'm always looking at the back to see what they look like. You know? So that's very important as well. So, and I've just put at the bottom, let your mind choose what your body needs, because as soon as you come out of the world and you go into yourself through meditation, through going into nature, your quiet voice becomes a little bit louder, because it gets drowned by the world and the ways and everything they tell us and they portray as the truth, which is not always true. We can be bought into it, but if you come away from it for a little while, go into yourself, meditate, go into nature, be by the sea, do whatever you want to do, play music, find that nice time that you enjoy that gives you time to think. Your inner voice, your intuitive voice starts to tell you what you need. Because normally we wait until we're ill till we're in tune with that. Because during illness, we tend to be more in tune with, oh my gosh, my body's telling me I need to eat this, or my body's telling me I need to eat that. But we should be trying to prevent getting to that stage. So just try to be more mindful, because your mind will actually guide you as to what you need and the colours you need. But it should be spread throughout the day, right? And that sums me up for today. I wanted to keep it very simple. I've just put this last page on. I'm on TikTok, Instagram and Facebook. My brand is Healwithcolour. I'm just a one-man band. This is more of a hobby than it is a career. So I've just got a few posts up here and there. But if you wanted to find me, that's where I am. Yeah?
Thank you.
So that's it. Thank you.
Can you answer the question?
Oh, yes. So what was it again? You wanted to ask about the dried...
Yeah, I was thinking about the when you were talking about the fluids or the water in the foods or whatever in the foods, coming with positive, energy to be able to be processed. So what about dried foods?
That's a very good question.
Prunes or raisins or something like this. Do they then miss out on?
Yes, because it's been dehydrated. They're more sugary. The sugars increase. It's dehydrated, so the fluid has been taken out. So what I suggest that people do, if you're eating dried fruits, have some fluids, have some water around the time that you're eating it. Anything fluid, drink around that. Because when you eat dry foods, your body has to add water to it when you digest it. So if you're drinking water while you're doing it, it will kind of just make it easier to digest. But that's a really good point. So you're not really losing that because the nutrients are concentrated now because the water's been removed from it, but then it's harder to digest because your body now has to add water to it to actually bring it back to how it was. And if you're drinking water while you're eating it, it should solve that. Is that okay?
Yeah. It works on the same principle. Like when I was boxing, I used to get a lot of boxers used to eat dry fruit because while eating, they got food in, but the water in their body was being soaked up. By
That's
the
right.
So
That's right.
So it kept their weight down.
Yeah.
So it's the same principle.
That's a really good question. Very good question. Is there any more?